What's up, guys? We did not just watch Alien Romulus. We watched it yesterday. I wanted to make the review, but she got busy being all helpful around the house cleaning and stuff. So we're making it a day later. So my recollection of events in the film may be
questionable, as usual.
skewed. Wrong. So going into this movie, I thought it was going to be awesome because I seen Fede Alvarez was making it, and he made the Evil Dead remake that came out in 2013, which was amazing. On top of that, he had Ridley Scott's blessing to make this movie, which I don't know if that's saying much, but I thought it was going to be good, and the trailer was cool. The teaser trailers were cool, but the actual trailer was lame as fuck. Because when we went to go watch Cuckoo, they showed like the actual like final trailer, and they revealed way too much like about the movie. Not like actually like the story and plot and all that, just with like the cool sequences that you see in the movie. And I was like, man, that was kind of lame. But I was going into this and I was expecting it to be amazing. She was lukewarm. She was just like, man, it's an alien movie. It's okay, I guess. She's not as thrilled about the alien movies as I am. I was just excited about the fact that we were getting an alien movie helmed by Fede Alvarez, which I thought was just cool on paper. So the movie starts, and we see these research people from the Weyland-Yutani Corporation exhuming the original alien, which I guess was in some sort of fossilized state from when it was burned in the original movie. So I thought that was cool. And immediately, the film is oozing with atmosphere, and it's really like taking its time. There's barely any score, and it's just like this, like the slow, just like creepy, just ominous void of like nothing. You just have spooky space sounds, and then the credits pop up. Alien Romulus. So I didn't know.
Didn't they cut open the alien thingamabob first, and then there were the credits?
It's revealed later in the movie. They cut.
No, not revealed later. They show they take it into the ship, and then they laser it open, and then they walk away carrying it, and then that's that.
Yeah, but you don't know why they're doing that.
The assumption is people have seen Alien.
Yeah,
and it shows the
but
alien
you don't know why
inside.
they're extracting the dead alien.
Yeah, but you know that they cut it open.
Right, but you don't know why they're doing that.
That doesn't matter.
It does matter. It does matter.
What matters is they opened it like idiots. Pandora's box.
Yes. So then, boom, we cut to the planet, this mining planet.
Jackson Star, right? Isn't it a star? It's a...
No, because if it was a star, everyone would be dead and burning.
I thought it said it was a star.
I don't think it's a star. I think it's a planet. But it doesn't matter. It's some sort of mining planet that sucks ass. Like, there's no daylight. I mean, there is a sun, but there's like so much like rain and clouds and all this other stuff. It's like basically a volcanic planet. It's kind of like Mustafar in the Star Wars universe. I think that's what it's called, Mustafar.
I don't know.
Yes. So it's basically the shitty planet, and then we're introduced to the main character, and she has this this brother, which is this android. The only black person in the movie, and they made him a fucking android, which everyone treats like shit. Wow, is that was not very subtle. And then what? You also complained about
because they're British, so they're speaking British English, and if you don't speak British English, it's hard to know what the heck they're saying.
Yeah, some of the sound design with like the mixing of the voices earlier in the beginning, it was kind of hard to make out what the heck they were saying for a little bit, especially when they were walking through like the space or whatever with all the people and just all the chitter chatter. I was kind of like, the frick are they saying?
Yeah. I just kind of gave up for the first part. Like, the first 15 minutes, I just didn't... I was like, I'm not going to get it.
Not invested. She was not invested. I was invested because I was like, why do I not give a hell about this character? I don't understand. I was more interested in the character of Andy, her cyborg, her cybernetic, her synth brother, because he plays this part excellently because he always has, like, this constant face, like, of, like... It's like a face you can empathize with, where he's always kind of, like, sad, or he has, like, this, like, sad puppy dog look. Yeah, like the sad, confused puppy dog look. So immediately, like, even if...
they kind of made him be, like, the autistic brother style.
Yeah, pretty much. So even if he said nothing or did nothing, like, you felt, like, empathy for him, especially after seeing, like, how people treat him. And then on top of that, he walks all, like, timid and shit. And it's just very adorable.
And he makes dad jokes to try and make the main character happy.
Yeah, he makes these awfully good dad jokes that are amazing. So we find out that this lady, the main character, and her synth brother are basically stuck on this planet, being slaves to the Wayland Yutani Corporation.
She's supposed to be able to get away because she has been working there long enough, and then they're like, actually, we changed the requirements. You're screwed.
Yeah. So within the first 15 minutes, you're like, okay, so these are her motivations for leaving the planet. So when they introduce the most dangerous, prospect for her to actually leave the planet, it makes sense why you're like, oh, I guess that would make sense, because who the hell wants to work another 12 years on this shitty ass planet? Because
where everybody keeps dying of lung disease and stuff because they're in mines.
Because after she goes to the resources, the human resources, she's like, I've fulfilled my duties, and they're like, nope, and then they give her a bunch of other shit to do, and then she's like, well, that sucks.
They literally double the amount of work shifts.
So then she goes to her friends, and they're like, oh, well, we found this floating spaceship above the thing, and it might have cryogenic chambers that we will need to get to this planet that is not shitty.
And of course, none of them question why it's just floating there, this enormous thing that has obviously a bunch of resources on it. Why nobody bothered to get it? Why
that is a big plot hole, because how the hell does Wayland Yutani Corporation not know about this floating fucking derelict spaceship?
Even if they don't care, they definitely would care if somebody went on, and
they would be able to detect that. They would be able to detect that in the atmosphere or whatever the heck, I would think. And it's not just like a tiny little shuttle pod. It's like a whole. It's a whole ass fucking space station. So that was confusing. And then on top of that, they have high value targets in terms of what they're researching. So why the heck would they not know where the frick that's at?
And it's a really big special one that's two of them put together. So you would think that at least they would collect it and salvage what they could.
So anyways, yes. So they're like, we got to go to this thing, and we need Andy because he has the mother thing. He can speak mother, which is their synth language or whatever.
Which is not weird at all.
So boom, within the first 15 minutes, we understand the character motivations. We have some cannon fodder. We have some, some serviceable, I guess, characters that we can somewhat relate with, I guess. And then boom, we're going up into space, and the sound design was phenomenal.
Oh, and also there's one. So she's going up there with some dude who she kind of has a crush on, but she's not together with. His pregnant sister, he doesn't know is pregnant. And then the one Asian character who is, the tech goddess, apparently, and her boyfriend who's a loser.
Literally, none of that even fucking matters. I'm not even kidding. None of that plays any role in the story or plotline whatsoever.
Apart from the fact that it's odd that the Asian character is the tech brilliant one.
Well, no, because
the
all
guys
those,
are in charge,
there's plot beats that are tied to those things, but they're not paid off in a satisfying manner at all. They're just there just to serve as plot beats, and then there's no emotional weight that is carried between the plot beats when those things happen.
Yeah, especially because you can't understand half what they're saying to each other. You're like, okay.
So anyways, they get up into the spaceship, and then I like how when they first get into the spaceship, it's it opens and it's it's very sexual, and then they go in and it's dark and damp, and I'm like, ooh, this is
not damp. It's super cold. It can't be damp if it's that cold.
Oh no, because it was dripping liquids.
That's once they turn it on, because that's all the cold. So when it gets really cold, everything condenses. So there is basically no moisture in the air. So when you warm it up, condensation melts and starts dripping. That's what was dripping.
Anyways, it's all dark and damp from this is getting sexual. And then they establish a thing that's important that will come later in a very cool ass scene where every 5 minutes the gravity regenerators or something.
Gravity generators.
They purge. So it'll be zero gravity, and then every 5 minutes it'll shut down for 5 seconds or whatever, and then they'll shut back off, or no, they'll be off, and then they'll shut on for 5 seconds, and then they'll shut off, and then it'll be zero gravity again. So they establish that, which obviously is going to be important for later, and the main character and the ship captain do not go on the ship. It's just Andy and then the two asshole characters who nobody gives a fuck about. And they somehow they find the first cryopods, and
oh no! But also, so they go in. It's freezing cold. It's dark, and for whatever reason, they decide to turn the whole thing on without having any idea what it is, what's going on there, why it was off to begin with. I mean, that also alerts anything that's there to your presence, and just seems like even if there's nothing in there, it would alert something to your presence. People might come out and be like, oh, the ship is on.
Well, these people don't know that aliens exist.
No, but they're stupid. Anything where you go in, you don't want to be super obvious that you're there unless you know exactly what you're going into.
Well, they're going in there under the pretense that they're going to be there for no longer than 30 minutes. So they're just like, boom, oh, blah, 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 blah. They're just bumbling around. So they end up finding their way to... They find the first cryogenic chambers, and they don't have enough energy or whatever, or resources to sustain the journey that they're trying to go on. So they have to go find fuel for these cryogenic things, and they find their way into the first alien set piece, which it's like this cryogenic room, and there's like water, and
on the floor. And of course they walk into it not even bothering. I mean, I'd be worried about what the heck could be in there. Water's been sitting there for years, might be a little dirty.
So they try to like take out like one of the cryogenic things or the batteries or whatever, and it like starts like warming up the room, which has all these face huggers. They turned
it on, remember? Because they turned the whole ship's power on. That's why. They turned it on, and then they had the cryopods pop out. And like, oh, not enough power.
They somehow do something where the fucking face huggers wake up because they were in like a stasis, like they were frozen, and then the room starts warming up, and then they all start wiggling around and shit. And then you get all these face huggers.
Nobody notices because they're not checking out anything.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool sequence. It's actually really creepy. And what I really like about the sequence is because in every other Alien movie, there might be like scenes where like people are like fighting off the face huggers, but for the most part, from what I recollect, is when people see the face huggers, it's immediately like whoosh, and they're fucked. There's no fighting back. But in this one, like they're actually like able to like fight back against the face huggers, which I really liked. And then also like the part where the face huggers are like, I was like, ugh, that's gross. That was awesome. And then oh yeah, they find a fucking android, which I was curious because I was like, is that what's his name, Ed Holmes' character, Rook? I think that's his name. The Rook. Actor. Oh yeah. I don't know. I can't remember the actor's name, but Rook. I was like, is that Rook? Because you don't see his face. You just see like the fucking synth on the floor. But then I'm like, I don't know. They might do that because they haven't shown his face yet. If it was just some random synth, then whatever. But they find. They go to the cryogenic chamber room with the face huggers, and then they can't escape. So. And
also, one of the idiots burns his hand because I think some of the fuel for the cryo thing comes out, and it's really cold because cryo's cold sleep. So he burns his fingers with cold stuff.
Which has no bearing on the plot whatsoever.
Except to show that they're stupid and they're not wearing any kind of protective equipment.
No bearing on the plot whatsoever. So they get stuck in this face hugger room, and they're like, oh, we can't escape. He's not speaking mother on this room. So then the main character and the ship lady...
Actually, they get stuck in that room because the door closes behind them, and it says that it needs the science officer's permission to open. So obviously something was up because that room was sealed off.
Yeah, so the two other characters that were off the ship come in, and they have to fucking... They're like, oh, we found this synth. He must have some sort of chip that will give him access, that will give Andy access. So they take the chip to Andy, and then they put the chip in Andy, and this is before everything hits the fan, and then he gets the chip, and he goes... And he's sitting there, like, booting up or whatever for, like, 5 minutes. Then you get a cool-ass scene where he finally boots up. The face hugger's about to suck on the dude, and then it's like... And then he slings the fucking face hugger. I'm like... Oh shit! And you can tell the acting is great with this dude because his demeanor completely changes. He goes from like timid to just like confident, like he has like a sense of purpose and like a sense of duty. Different too. Yeah, he's like very just like cold and like calculated
and
when
his
he gets his
delivery's a little different.
Yeah, it's fantastic. It's awesome. It's like really the only like acting performance in the whole movie that's like actually worth watching. And then yeah, so they find their way out of the room, and then Andy is obviously being a little bit different because he's saying how the code that they put into him is like rewiring everything, and he's got a whole new directive because they tell you in the beginning that his directive is to protect whatever is good for the main character. But when they put the chip into the dude, his chip or his protocol and his directive is reassigned to what's best for the Weyland-Yutani Corporation. So you just see him doing like progressively like crazier and crazier shit that's like not for...
Actually, it's not crazy. I mean, technically a logical person would make the same decisions. He's doing what... So instead of doing the emotional thing and dooming everyone to die from the aliens, he's actually sacrificing 1 or 2 people so that everybody else can live, which, if you think about it, I mean, what, are we all supposed to just die, but we're just together at least? Yes. I'd rather not die if I don't have to.
So after this, he gets them out of the room, and they're all running down the hallway, and then you get the scene in the trailer where all the facehuggers are all crawling all over the place, and they're trying to run away. And then one of the facehuggers, they go through like the whole hallway, and then one of the facehuggers makes their way through, and they, boom, they're sucking on the fucking captain lady's face. And then he's like, wait, don't remove it. Because he says something about how it's gonna like constrict her, so they're like, oh, what if we freeze the base of the tail? So they freeze the base of the tail and they get it off of her. But then this is when we realize that Rook is in the movie, and he's like, what does he say? He's like, he gives them information detailing like, you know, the specifics of the alien.
60-40 chance of her having already been implanted with alien.
Which I thought they were going to do something cool, because we've never seen what happens if a facehugger is removed prematurely. I thought that was going to affect the alien, like, and how it came out in some sort of way. But no.
Insemination takes 1 second, you know.
But I thought it was going to come out, like, underdeveloped or something. Or is it going to have some sort of, like, deformation or something? But they don't do anything like that.
You don't pass on your DNA, like, one strand at a time. It's like, okay, you either got the DNA or you didn't. You're not passing on a tenth of a sperm or something.
Anyways, I don't even know. Like, yeah, I had false expectations going into that.
I mean, I thought that they were stupid because this thing was implanting her, and they're like, oh, we'll take her back on the ship, but I'm gonna at least keep her for observation for a little bit. This is this thing that you don't know.
Well, no, it's because the one dude...
The extra stupid British one?
Yeah, Andy's like, we cannot take her back onto the ship. And then the dude's like, and then he shocks Andy, and then Andy's over there. Oh. So then he's taking, the one British dude takes her onto the ship, and it's just them two on the ship with the pregnant lady. Because the pregnant lady's asleep the whole time. She don't know what the fuck's going on. She's over there being all fucking sick and shit, throwing up and shit. So they take her on the ship with the pregnant lady. And then basically Andy and the other two characters are sitting there, just sitting watching out the window as fucking... Well, Andy wakes up. And then he tries to go kill them. So then the captain, the British dude, and the pregnant lady are all on the ship, and they're trying to get away from Andy, basically. So Andy and the other two characters are just sitting there, and then fucking the captain's all like, oh.
Yeah, like 2 seconds after. It went way faster than it did in the original one.
Mm-hmm. And the other British dude is like fucking around. He's like falling on his ass and shit because the fucking spaceship's losing all control and shit.
No, because she starts seizing and stuff as the little baby alien's popping out of her, and her foot hits one of the things that directs her to the spaceship. So they're just spinning around, and nobody thinks to move her foot. They're just like, oh no!
So it's this whole ass tense situation, because then you got the pregnant lady sitting there, like, doesn't know what the fuck's going on. She's just holding the ship captain as this fucking thing's... And it was fucking awesome the way it happened, because she has like the x-ray thing, and she like checks out her back, and you can see the alien like wiggling around. I was like, wow, that's pretty cool, dude. That's pretty cool. So yeah,
it was just odd. I mean, if you know you have an alien thing inside you, and obviously you're gonna die, if that is inside your chest trying to come out, why would you be like, don't let me die? I would want to be shot so I don't have to deal with it bursting out of my chest and dying horribly, and also so my death at least protect somebody. If I'm gonna die,
people are not thinking about this when they're in a high tense situation, and you don't even know their levels of education. They grew up on a shitty ass planet.
Genius who can.
She's not. They never tell you that she's a genius. She just knows
that she's really good, at least at logical.
No,
stuff.
She just knows how to fly a ship.
Yeah, which is something logical. If she's good at that, and they're like, oh, she's so cool, blah blah blah. You'd think that she has some kind of survival.
No, they just like she just knows how to fly a ship. There was no wokeisms in there where she's like, oh, she's so good at this and this and this and this and this. Literally, like when you're first introduced to her character, she's just over there eating a fucking Twizzler the whole time. They don't do anything where they're like, oh, look how smart she is. Like literally all she knows how to do is fly the ship.
Except for the pregnant sister is implied to be kind of like tough and smart because they have their little spaceship thingy that they use. And
I think you're just being a hater.
No, they also live in the trailer, so they're like, a level above the other people that live all in dorm bunk things. So it's implied that they're all a bit more capable, but they're all idiots.
I don't know. I wasn't paying attention to any of that. I was just like, whatever. Like, I don't even really care about all these characters. I'm not trying to think about all that shit. So, yeah. So the
chest burster bursts out of the chest. The 3 of them are in the little spaceship that brought them there. And the other 3 are trapped in the main thing. So Andy, the main girl, and the less jerk dude are trapped in the main thing. Chest hugger bursts out. That girl dies.
And then the spaceship careens into a fucking a hangar, and then boom, that's their escape vessel. So they have to figure out how to get from one side of the spaceship to the other side of the spaceship.
Although you would think that they would have extras on such a big space station. You would think that they would have others that they would consider using.
Lifeboats?
Yeah, something like that.
I don't know. Yeah, but they didn't. If they did do that, they wouldn't have the cryogenic chambers or whatever. Anyways, I forgot to mention that.
No, they didn't have them to begin with. They were taking them off the ship. They could have just gone to one that was closer. Been like, we'll put the stuff in here. We'll drive off, and then good luck to you guys.
I was not thinking about all that. I forgot to mention that they also introduce a ticking bomb plot point, or what is it? A plot element. So ticking bomb plot element is like, you know, something that's going to happen eventually, so it creates like this sense of urgency, because they tell you before they go to the
super steep.
because before they go to the space station, they say, oh, the space station only has like 36 hours before it collides with the rings of our planet. So boom, that adds a sense of urgency. So the more time they spend on the spaceship, the more like sense of like, oh, we have to like get the fuck out of here, or else the whole shit is gonna explode and we're gonna die. So now they have to get from one side of the spaceship to the other side of the spaceship, but then they have all these fucking facehuggers running around and stuff. And then that's when we get a cool little detail for some of the lore of the alien, because we find out that the facehuggers hunt by heat signature and also by sound.
Which makes sense because they don't have eyes.
Yeah, I told her, I was like, they've never explained that in Alien the Alien movies. And then I was like, I like how they added that. She's like, whoa, it's kind of obvious. I was like, get out of here with that. No.
If anybody studies the most basic stuff about animals, look at what they're based on, you're like, oh, that makes sense, they would use that.
No, it was cool that they added that, because there's a whole sequence where they have to like go through the fucking this like section where like these facehuggers are just like sitting around because they raise the temperature of the room to match their body heat.
Which of course doesn't make sense because they open the door so the heat starts flooding out right away. So it would already be hotter than the rest of the room.
And Andy's like, don't sweat, don't cry, don't do none of that, because they can sense that, because it's gonna cool.
Goosebumps.
It's gonna cool your body temperature off or whatever. So the facehuggers are just sitting there like little scorpions. It's so fucking cool. But then the pregnant lady is like, phew, and she like she calls the one British dude, and he's all, of course, just does not listen to anything Andy just fucking said. He's all crying there, having goosebumps and shit. I'm gonna come get you. I'm gonna come get you.
Well, it is his sister, but he should have been like, can't talk right now. Throw the headset somewhere so that she can keep making noise. And the facehuggers go somewhere else, but they have 0 survival skills.
Yeah, but they don't establish the bond. It's just the fact that, oh, that's his sister. Like, there's nothing in the movie that shows us, like, oh, we give a fuck about their you know,
honestly, the
biggest
thing is that she doesn't want him to know that she's pregnant, so it's like...
Yeah, but who gives a fuck? And then on top of that...
shows that their relation, like, if I had a sibling and I was in that kind of situation, I'd want them to know. Just because, you know, like, if I'm puking or something, I want you to know what's going on ahead of time.
Yeah, but it's very surface level. They just tell you, and they don't show anything beyond that.
Exactly.
And then on top of that, like, you only care for the one pregnant lady because she's pregnant, not because, like, you actually care about her character.
Yeah, she's lame.
She's not even a character, really. She's literally a plot point, like, for real. And then, yeah, so he's all crying, I'm gonna go get you. And then the facehuggers are like, ah! So they start chasing him down the hall and shit. And then this is when we first see, the second time we see Andy doing some shit that puts their lives at risk. So he's like, I perfectly calculated shutting the door, giving you the most optimal time to escape or whatever. And they're like, are you crazy? You shut the door on him when the things were coming. And then he's just like...
Well, if he had waited longer to shut the door, then the facehuggers would have gone through anyways.
Right.
So it's like, again, stupid people making stupid decisions and complaining about the fact that they were saved by somebody with more brains than them. Which doesn't take much in that case.
So then they find their way into a hallway where there's something detailing about the Romulus and Remus, which has nothing to fucking... There's nothing tying the original story of, like, Romulus and Remus.
They're just weirdly obsessed with giving names from Greek and Roman mythology at this point.
Yeah, there's no themes that tie into that, because Romulus and Remus, they were raised by wolves or whatever, so...
A wolf.
Yeah, so it has like themes of like motherhood and...
No, they're brothers and they fight, and one of them kills the other one and then establishes Rome. Actually, well, they kind of established it, but then he's like, I want it to be Rome, not Reem.
Right, so you would think that they would take some elements from that story and somehow weave it like thematically into this film, but it literally has nothing to do with any of that. It's just a cool name, Alien Romulus. So that was very disappointing too. Yeah, and then they find out
I guess maybe they're implying that the alien is Romulus, so therefore the one that's stronger that will kill the other one. But that's just like, it's such a long
it's surface
stretch.
level.
Yeah, it's so long and far that's like, okay, maybe that's an option.
Yeah, but there's not really any depth to the story beyond like, oh, it's a cool alien, spooky, scary movie.
Yeah.
So they find their way into this lab where they find it. I like how they did this sequence though, because they made they didn't completely discredit everything that Prometheus and Alien Covenant did. They did say like, oh, the black goo is this is legit, this is a part of the lore, because it's established that in Prometheus, because she's only seen the first Alien, she hasn't even seen Aliens, she hasn't seen any other Alien movie. in Prometheus, it's established that these things called engineers, which are basically like, you know, gods or whatever, created this black goo, which basically is some sort of it's like some sort of air. What is it? Things that are in the air. What is it? That type of weapon?
Biological weapon?
It's like a biological weapon that spreads through the air, and when it gets into like a host or whatever, it like morphs their body chemistry and turns them into a weapon. So yeah, it's established that. So basically, when you see the opening of the movie and they're taking the alien and they're extracting the alien, they somehow extracted the black goo from the alien somehow.
It looks like they're just kind of having a bunch of the face huggers on a tank and letting their blood come out, and then it goes to the top. They're like, oh look, black goo.
It doesn't make any sense to me because I'm like, but their blood is acid.
Yeah, the xenomorph blood is acid, but
they're like, the facehugger's blood is acid too.
Yeah, so they say they put it through a few chemical processes. I'm like, well, yeah, it's just stupid.
So then you see like a video of them like destroying a rat, and then they inject it with the black goo, and it's like, oh, I'm good. And then before they leave the lab, you see like the rat all like contorting and turning into this mass of disgustingness, which I thought was really cool.
But then it's dead after. Like, it didn't come back to life or anything, which is weird because that doesn't happen with. Yeah, you would think that then anything that gets injected with the black goo is not as impervious as aliens, because it somehow died again without even being squished again. It just died.
So when they get to this lab part, Rook is all like, "Oh, you must take the vial with the black goo things, and you must take them to the escape pod." So whenever there's like a critical moment where Rook is trying to, you know, escort the scientific researches, the whatever the heck, he'll like pop in and be like, "You must do this," and they're just like, "Okay, I guess." So
there's all sorts of stuff in the lab, and they don't even bother to look at it. We see it because we're the audience, but they don't even look at any of that. Just like, you're in a life or death situation, you don't want more information about what's going on. This is why I don't like horror movies.
Well,
people
also,
are stupid.
in that scene, Andy also gives them like guns that have this cool ass they have like this extendy thing that like you put your arm into and then it like auto aims. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. That was a cool little thing. Yeah, that was that. And then what's the next sequence? They go from the lab and then
the pregnant sister is now in the spaceship, and they almost connect with her, but they have to open a door and Andy refuses because Xenomorph is waiting. No.
It cuts to when the pregnant lady wakes up and she goes in, she's trying to escape from the alien, and then she ends up like in this hallway where the alien created like this like, what is it? Some sort of larva or some sort of like incubation thing on the wall?
No, isn't that after it gets her? Because Danny refuses to open the door so they can't reconnect with her. Because he says it's a trap, and of course...
No, because the alien comes from that. The alien has to be born first. So
it was already born, remember?
No, it wasn't. It was crawling on the floor. It was the chest burster version, and then it like got away.
Oh, I thought that was just its skin that was laying there. But it shed its skin.
It shed its skin, and then it created a mass on the wall. And then she's all like, ugh. And then the other dude comes out of nowhere, and he's got the cattle prod, and he's like, and he's like fucking tasing the shit out of it, and he's like, oh, I guess we're good. And then a little fucking like tail comes out, it's like, and like, you think it kills him, you think it just straight up annihilates him. No, it just gets his fucking eyeball. And then he's laying there, and since he like tased the fucking thing, it's all dripping acid onto him, and he's all, and it's a pretty fucking lame death, to be honest. And then
yeah, his whole existence was lame.
Yeah, so then the fucking alien pops out, bloop, and then now we have a full xenomorph. So now it's hunting the pregnant lady.
The visuals for the little sack that it's in, this little chrysalis, and then when it pops out are interesting. It
was dope because we've never seen in the entire Alien saga or Alien filmography of, you know, whatever the hell, we've never seen the state between when it goes from chest burster into full xenomorph. So the fact that they added that little sequence, I was like, that's cool.
Are you sure? I thought on the first
No,
one
they've never done that. They've never shown like it going from chest burster into like full alien, like that period in between. It's just chest burster, it escapes, and then boom, it's full alien.
But I thought we see the remains of the cocoon. It's not like we were seeing inside the cocoon anyway, so we're not actually seeing more. But it's just we're seeing somebody looking at the cocoon.
I guess, yeah, but you don't see like the whole like process of it like coming out and like, I don't know. I just thought that was cool.
Yeah, you really like when it went popped.
It was awesome. So it's hunting the lady, and then she's in some sort of cargo bay, and then she goes to the door, and then boom, they meet up with Andy and the other two people, and then she's like, "Open the door!" Because she sets off the alarm or whatever, and then the alien comes out, and it's all like, and then Andy's sitting there like, because he has the power to open the door.
Nobody else does.
Yeah, he just has to finger the door, and he's like, and then he sees the alien, and he's like, hmm. And then the brothers are like, Andy, open the door. He's like, I can't because it's setting a trap. If I open this door, we all die. And then, so yeah, she dies. The pregnant lady dies. Well, dies. She gets impaled and then taken somewhere. And this is a scene that, like, broke my suspension of disbelief because the brother is just kind of, like, sad for a moment. He's all like, but he's not, like, mad at Andy. He's just, like, mad at, like, just mad. He's just like, oh. And then he carries none of the emotion through the rest of the film until he dies. Like, there's like nothing like satisfying about that scene at all. And then the main character lady, she's all like, Andy, you're changing. I've got to remove your chip. And he's like, nope. So then they have to...
I choose functionability.
So then they have to escape the ship or whatever because they think everyone's dead. And then they get into like this hallway section, and then they turn on the lights and they see the hive is being made. They're like, okay, well, this is not good.
It's not even, where the heck is that hive made? Is it just being built out into space or something? Or is it somewhere in the spaceship?
That's in the spaceship.
It's just odd.
It's in the spaceship. So they're creating a hive, and they're like, we got to go the other way. And then they hear, Wah! It's like the lady screaming, the pregnant lady. The pregnant lady is still alive, so the brothers are like, I gotta go find my sister. So then they go finding the sister, and they go with him, of course, and then he gets shit on. He gets fucking impaled through the back and then taken all the way up, and then he gets eye gouged with the mouth. And it's super quick. You don't get anything satisfactory about it. It's just like, and then it's like done.
Yeah, him and both the dudes that die in here are just honestly the most anticlimactic deaths possible.
So fucking lame. Yeah, so lame.
Their whole... I don't even know why they were there. They added nothing except for the fact that there were more people that died.
Yes. So after he dies, Andy starts malfunctioning, and then main lady, pregnant lady get into an elevator. They start going up the elevator, and then she's like, go without me. Take this. Go to the escape pod. Go without me. So she sends pregnant lady to the escape.
Well, so the pregnant lady, she's not doing well because she was stabbed. And they almost inject her with the black goo, and they're like, yeah, actually, just to be sure, because nobody's tested this, we'll have her go in one of those cryogenesis pods.
And they're like, what are the chances? So, because they don't know if she's going to bleed out before they get to there. So it's like this gamble. It's like, well, let's try to get her to the ship first and get her in the cryopod before we do the black goo.
Because that's like a, last resort kind of thing. Because they don't really know anything about it.
Yeah, but Black Lady, she has no fucking idea what the fuck this shit is. She's literally sitting in the elevator, and then she's like, it must be helpful.
Well, they said that they could use it when she was dying there, and then she's like, well, I think I'm dying now.
Yeah, so main lady sends pregnant lady to the ship or whatever, and then she goes back for Andy, because, like, emotions, I don't know. And then this scene was fucking confusing. So, wait, no, this whole scene was badass. This whole scene was sick as fuck. This is, like, the best scene in the movie for sure. So she goes and saves Andy. They get stuck. They're cornered at the end of the fucking hall. All these aliens are, and they think they're fucked. Ruka's all like, haha, you suck. Get good, loser. And I'm just like, damn, that was savage. And then I forgot the whole anti-gravity thing. And then she's like, because Andy tells her a joke about gravity. And then she's like,
well, they think they're going to die because they have no way to get out because Rook locked them out, and then the xenomorphs are coming at them, and if they shoot them, then the acid's gonna burn because they're at the bottom of the ship or something, so they only have 1 or 2 layers, and then they'll die anyways. Mm-hmm. So they're sitting there like, oh, I guess we're gonna die, while the aliens take their sweet time crawling along towards them, and then he tells a joke to relieve the tension of dying a painful, horrible death in a couple minutes.
Yes. So then she like, oh yes, the anti-gravity field, and then she turns off the gravity, and then they're all floating, and then she's all like,
it was like 10 minutes shooting loudly.
It was awesome. And then by the end of this thing, they reveal she has just a little clip, like tiny little snippet of ammo left, and there's just like these swirling acids. Like, it was cool as fuck. Like, the whole concept of it and the whole execution of it was cool as fuck. So they have to like go through this like zero gravity minefield of acid. And it was fucking awesome. So they make their way out of there, and then they go to the elevator shaft where they sent the lady up, and they start going up. And then the generator kicks on. So Andy's all the way the fuck up here because she was being a retard. She got grabbed by the alien or something, so she got kind of left behind a little bit. So she starts making her way up right before she
No,
grabs.
she's just slower. Oh yeah, she did get grabbed.
Right before she grabs Andy's hand, the fucking generator kicks on. So then she falls all the way back. But then
an alien just decides to save her and set her there and be like, oh.
The alien saves her.
For no reason.
The alien saves her. It doesn't impale her. It's just like
screaming.
The alien saves her. It doesn't impale her. It doesn't pounce on her or nothing. It literally catches her all gentle, like a little baby bird falling from a tree.
And then they all look at a face hugger.
And then they're all just looking at each other just like, this is pretty cool.
I honestly thought it was the pregnant lady because I thought that she got transformed and she was there to save her. Because it didn't make any sense otherwise.
This was the most confusing thing I've ever seen in a movie ever. Not literally, but it's up there. I'm just like, what?
Plot armor.
Yeah, so she ends up, like, as she's going up, before this happens, she, like, loses her gun in the anti-gravity thing, and it's, like, hanging on one of the things in the elevator. So Andy's like, I gotta save her. So Andy drops the elevator because the anti-gravity field thing, so it kills all the aliens that are coming after her, except for the one that grabbed her. And then it's, like, about to kill her or whatever, and then Andy comes down, like, fucking, like, Arnold Schwarzenegger or something. He's like, and then he, like, stomps it.
And also what's stupid is that there is gravity again. So, they're, like... the acid burned holes. Everything's being sucked down. It's space, so they should be kind of dead at that point. But no, they're just holding on.
The alien acid doesn't eat through the elevator, which would suck them through the void. So that was also a plot hole.
And then the elevator falls and blocks the hole enough that, whoa, everything's totally fine now.
Yeah, so, yeah.
Physics only works when you want it to.
So, yeah, it was cool up until the elevator sequence, and then the elevator sequence was, like, the worst part of the movie, for sure. So they end up making their way back to the ship or whatever. And they have the autopilot on. Rook has the autopilot on. So it's pregnant lady, main lady, and
No.
Andy.
Pregnant lady, she's already injected herself. She's in one of those sleepy pods.
Yes, I'm saying all three of them are together now on the escape ship. And they put pregnant lady into the thing. And then she puts Andy in charge of the autopilot, and Rook's going to send them to some sort of, like, place where they can take the containers of black goo. And he thinks he's still in charge. So main lady goes to check on pregnant lady because the cryostasis thing kicks off, and then it's revealed that she's
super pregnant now all of a sudden,
and she gives birth to this little alien thing, and you're like, what the heck? What's going on here?
I don't know why they always feel the need to have these kinds of scenes.
And it was disgusting.
It was disgusting. Great.
It was so gross. I was like, actually, like, my toes were curling. So pregnant lady doesn't transform or nothing, and then she, like, gets out of the thing. She's like, get that thing away from me, and then she touches her titty because she's lactating black goo. She's like, ugh, it's gross.
Is she lactating, or is she just melting?
No, she was lactating black goo. So then the little alien thing disappears or whatever.
And it looks like a little human baby in a cocoon.
Yeah, and then it's like acid cocoon, like, melts through the thing. So then the main lady's like, oh, I gotta go kill this thing. So she goes to try to find the thing. It's left a cocoon, and there's, like, footprints in the sand. And then she's, like, following it, and then boom, it's, like, revealed above her, but you can barely see what the fuck it is. So she ends up going back to the pregnant lady, and it's just sitting there. And then it's revealed it's a fucking engineer, like, xenomorph hybrid.
It looks like a discount Voldemort.
It was so anticlimactic. I thought it was going to be so cool.
Weirdly asymmetrical, too. Like, its one head was popped out the whole time. Yeah.
It was just anticlimactic because they're basically trying to recopy, like, the ending of the first Alien where, like, you think, like, oh, everything's fine. But no, the alien's actually on the ship. They try to recreate that, but it does it to a way lesser great effect. Like, it's just, instead of, like, living in the moment of, like, oh, we've escaped, and then building the suspense up, it's just like, oh, we've escaped, and then now something else is happening,
honestly,
and then something else is
felt
happening.
Like it was a discount copy of Alien where you have so many of the similar plot points. Like, oh, the synth that is now no longer protecting them and doing what's in the interest of the company. They don't, like, there's people that are being stupid in the company, or in the group or whatever, that cause deaths and other stuff.
There was some subversions, like, when she goes to save Andy before the elevator sequence, she takes the chip out, so then he becomes himself again. So he's not under the control of whatever the heck Rook says, so that was kind of cool.
Yeah, but it just seemed like they took a lot of the stuff that was already there, and they just did the tiniest reworking. It's like if you're turning in a copy of your friend's homework, and like, it's different enough, but it's kind of the same.
Yeah, the whole ending was kind of lame. Like, she battles, like, this fucking xenomorph, fucking, what's his name? engineer hybrid, and it's just kind of like,
Who looks pretty lame.
yeah, it's just kind of lame.
And he also, it's really weird because I thought something more interesting would happen, but he goes to his mom, he crawls up, he sniffs her.
And then he's like got like a fucking vampire tongue from Blade 2, and he's like sucking on her titty, like.
No, he's not.
He is. He's like sniffing her, and then his tongue comes out, and then it's implied that she's sucking on her titty for the black goo.
I did not see that.
That's what was going on.
Anyways, I thought that he was gonna recognize it. It looked like a guy, so
I thought she was gonna be a red herring. I thought that they were gonna use the pregnant lady as sequel bait, but no, they just like straight up pay that off like towards the ending. It was kind of lame.
2 minutes after we thought it was something gonna happen.
Yeah. So.
Anyways, I thought it was gonna be something more interesting, but it just kind of eats/absorbs her into its body, but it looks and it has weird like back flexes, and then it just looks as deformed as before.
Yeah, I thought the pregnant lady was gonna like transform too, and then like have some sort of like I don't know.
Or at least have some kind of bond with the creature, which would be really interesting.
Yeah, that would have been way cooler than what we got.
Because they don't fight each other. None of the xenomorphs and facehuggers fight each other. So you would think that if it came from her and she's still alive, it might actually be okay with her, which would have been really interesting. They could just have done so much more with it than what they did.
Yeah, so main lady remembers that she can like release like the airlock or whatever, so she's like starts trying to do that, and then she releases the airlock kind of, and then the thing is like it was just disappointing. It was just like it was just I mean, it looked cool as fuck, like when they release like the whole thing, and then like she goes through the hole or whatever, and then the thing like collapses into the fucking the rings of the planet. Like that whole sequence, like wow, like that's like the sound design in this movie was immaculate. The cinematography and the lighting was amazing, and then the acting from Andy was phenomenal. But everything else was lacking, like the story and the plot.
It would have been nice if there had been at least some moments where there was the normal amount of lighting. It's tiring to strain your eyes staring in the dark, and also, so the aliens can magically super fast go from one part of the ship to the other that nobody else manages to move that quickly. It seems like, and they're good ambush predators because you never see them until they're there. If you had the lights on, would they even be creepy and effective, or would they just kind of be caught there in the bright white?
Because we were talking about that, we never see like aliens in like daylight. It would be cool to see them like adapt their skin like a chameleon, like say they're on like a desert or something.
They basically act like.
Because we only ever see them in the dark. Like that's why their skin is black basically, because they hunt best in the dark. But what if they were exposed to something where they're?
Do they, or is it just always dark because there's like the lights are always broken wherever they are?
Well,
it is never explained. It's just lame. There's just more that could be done, and that isn't.
It's because they always end up like wreaking havoc on like space stations.
It's about to be done, by the way.
Yeah, so this movie left a lot to be desired. It was cool at first, but looking back on it, I don't even know if I like it better than Alien Covenant. There's like something, because at least Alien Covenant had cool ass, like gross ass, like grotesque kills, and I mean, the kills in this were fucking lame, to be honest. And they were short. They were short-lived. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, it was just kind of like, this happens, and this happens, and this happens, and there's a little bit of emotion apparently here, but whatever. It just felt pretty lackluster.
It doesn't matter. Go watch it so we can get more Alien movies, because... Go watch it because we need to support more Alien movies, because hopefully if this movie makes enough money, we might get another Alien movie that's hopefully better, and we also might get a Predator movie. We sorely need that. Okay. And then we need an Alien vs. Predator movie. And then we need an Alien vs. Predator game.
It's time.
No.